All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. All right. Shalom, shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this devil platform with another message. And I will say this is a lovely morning in which the Most High Yah has made. And I, Sister Deborah, shall and I will, I will rest therein. I'm going to cover the rest. I say it every time I come on to a video or a live. I shall rest therein. The reason why I take on that word rest is because I understand the rest that he that sits on the throne intend. Now, I was in the kitchen washing dishes again. And there again, the Most High Yah spoke to me. And he said something to me. And when he said it, within me was like, I already know that one. I know that one. I know that one. But you know what? I didn't. Not to the level where he was taking me. I knew where I was, but I didn't know where he was taking me. You know how you know where you're being, but you don't know where you're going? When in this situation, I knew where what I knew, but I didn't know where he was taking me to. I knew somewhat of the rest. That's why I speak it every time I go live or I upload a video. I always say, and I shall rest therein because I've come to the understanding through the rock, only through the rock, only through the rock Kadash do I have the understanding of the rest from the beginning. Uh, so when he spoke to me regarding the rest while I was washing dishes, I was more like, yeah, I know about that one. I know, I really was until I realized he was taking me to a deeper level. And instant, I said, there you go. You just gave me a message, Father. And I'm going to put it forth. And the rest is not the rest that we have believed rest is, and what rest is consists of. I do know eternal life carries a rest. You better watch yourself. Eternal life carries a rest. Okay. The kingdom carries a rest. So, somewhere along the line, we have to go back. And going back don't mean going and trying to force or teach people what they're not ready to receive, nor what they want to hear. It's just going back within ourselves and kind of ask ourselves, what is this rest? And who is this rest for? What we have done is we have applied the things of the spirit onto those who are of the flesh, meaning we have taught individuals the things of the spirit in a way we thought that it's just to any and everyone. Never was it. Never was it. That's the reason why heavens was split in twos. That's the reason why earth on the earth is split up in twos. It's because heaven had orchestrated everything to be measured by twos. And this is why Genesis 3 and 15 pulled up when he went on to telling Satan the consequence. I'm going to let you're going to have your seeds and I'm going to have mine. Okay. So he was splitting the seeds up right then and there, letting him know you're going to have yours and I'm going to have mine. Now we know that Satan don't have seeds. We know that. At least you should. But if you don't, you shouldn't know it, because you still have to measure things on the level of the tools. Or are you speaking that to he that is of the flesh, or are you speaking to he that is of the spirit? That's where we have to take this rest. Because when he used the word rest on the seventh day, we have to understand what is that rest, and what is that rest consist of? What is going on here? You have to be able to understand there was never one laboring. In the beginning, let's go to Genesis chapter 1, and let's start with 28. In Genesis chapter 1 and 28, we're going to find out who this rest was for. Oh, yeah. Okay. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, it reads, and Yah blessed them. Notice he blessed them. So when you hear him say he blessed them, you as men and women in the flesh cannot delete the fact that the blessing of the Most High Yah came on them, not just him. Let me say that again. When you see Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, and it reads, and Yah blessed them. When you see the blessing of he that sits on the throne bless them, you must understand in the flesh, you cannot teach the people that the blessing of Yah came to him and not them. Now we got to also see where them, who is them, male and female. Yah knew that the world would be out of course and out of order because it didn't take this order. They didn't take this order right here. Now, what's different from this order and any other order? There's a difference. I see where you're going with this, Father. I see exactly where you're going with this. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, it is speaking of the blessing that Yah put on them. Now, you think of Abraham putting his blessing and his blessing coming on Isaac. You think about Jacob and his blessing and how Isaac blessed Jacob. You know, when Jacob pretended to steal his brother identity. Look at today. His brother turned right back and stole what? His identity from him. Okay? Not so much as his brother, but Jacob got his identity stolen. Have we not? So you really have to go back and realize that all the things that you allow people to mend into your thought, into your mind, to make you think, oh, it's this way, this way, this way. When he said knowledge shall increase in the end days, let me tell you, it's so much darkness out here. Where are we going to see this light of knowledge? It's in the spirit realm. It's upheld in the mystery. Okay? That's where the knowledge is increasing. It is being increased by the mystery and the light. Okay? It's being poured out. Okay? It's not the knowledge of the flesh of man. It is the knowledge of the spirit. Okay? So when I get into Genesis chapter 1 and 28, the first thing I'm on, and I want to rest, I want to get on this rest because I want you to give me some insight of your thoughts in the comments regarding this message of the word rest and who it is for. Okay. Now in Genesis chapter 1 and 28, this is where you can look at Genesis chapter 1 and verse 28 and see how the earth is off course and out of order. This right here, verse right here, it tells you why. Because listen to what he says in Genesis chapter 1, 28. And Yah blessed them. Who is them? Male and female. What did he do? He did the same thing Isaac did with Jacob for his blessing upon him. You see? Same way Jacob did with Joseph. You see? Joseph did with his son. You see? When Yah did this here in the beginning, in what you call totally 100% perfect will. Now we talking about perfect will was that Genesis 1 and 28 would be consist of them. Okay, here we go. And Yah blessed them, he and her. And Yah said to them, he and her, be fruitful. Who? He and her. Multiply and multiply. Who? He and her. And replenish the earth. He and her. And subdue it. He and her. And have dominion over the fish and of the sea, and over the fowls of the earth, and over every living thing that moved upon the earth. Them, not him, but to he and her did Yah put the blessing on them. As you see that everything in the world is really consists of him. It's the pleasure, it's the order, it's the ruler, it is the conqueror, it is the controller. You see, him. When Yah created it, it was for them. You see how he says, if they missed Genesis, Deborah, they'd have missed the whole instructions and direction book in which they proclaim, they understand, and they are they're precepting and lining and little here, and they want to tell you, well, what did the Bible say? What did the Bible say? You missed what the Bible said in the beginning. So how dare you go all over the place in this book and forget or bypass the beginning when it was the only chapter that he poured into his perfect will before he placed the tree of knowledge and good and evil in the presence. So here he said, I put the blessing on them. Did Isaac put the blessing on Esau and Jacob? Did Joseph put the blessing on both of his sons? Come on now, talk to me. Did Abraham put the blessing on both of his sons? You see, it don't rumble that way. It rumbles the order in which it was called from the kingdom. So what we are living is the order that was called out of the mindset of men. And this is where you're going to find out the rest is going to cause you to rethink some things. Okay, so here in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 28, he began to say in verse 29, and Yah said, behold, that means look, I have given. That's why I tell you it ain't love. It's given and gave. And he said, I have given every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which is fruit of the tree, yielding seeds, to you, it shall be for meat. So here we know that there is not anything that Adam nor Eve would have to labor for. Okay? Okay? Why? Because Yah showed up and he showed out. That's what that right hand do. He know how to show up and show out. And what he did is he created everything for them and put it before them in his perfect will. Did he do these things? So in verse 30, he said, and to every beast of the field, to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And Yah saw things that he had made, and behold, it was what? Very good. Yeah, I'm telling you, in my sight, was good. Watch this here. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Now we go up into Genesis chapter 2. Thus, the heaven and the earth was finished, and all the host of them. What was finished? The heaven and the earth. So Yah had already called it out to be, but just waiting to make it put forth, brought forth. Okay? He had already called the order. I like that, because you can't take away from that, and you can't add. You won't be able to take away from that and add. That's why they couldn't really smear Genesis 1. Because it's so powerful that it still stands firm in what it said. If they knew that he had them, him and her, was ordered by Yah for the blessing. See, you all didn't know. The blessing must go to where Yah put his hand on to be the blessing. And it was them, not him. Now watch this. So in Genesis chapter 2, the heavens and the earth was finished, and all the host of them. Finished. So what did Adam have to labor? Adam wasn't even created. So what was his laboring? Watch this. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 2. And on the seventh day, Yah in his work which he had made, and rest on the Sabbath day from all his work which he had made. Verse 3. And Yah blessed, there go the blessing, on the seventh day, and blessed the seventh day and sanctify it, set it aside, okay? Because that in it he had rest from all his work which he created and made. Now, who is this rest for? Honestly, if Yah is spirit, and the work of his mighty right hand is spirit, and it brought forth that which we see, what we see that we see clear is the things that were made by he that is spirit. Okay? We can't take away from that. So if he created these things from a spirit realm, then therefore, who is the rest for? If he is spirit and he sanctified the rest, and he not labored, but he the works that he put forth was brought forth by him speaking and his power seeing it come forth. So it comes from a spiritual realm, the works. What is he saying about this rest? And what are you saying about the rest? Well, the Most High Yah put it before me as I wash dishes, which is the water. And he wants me to understand that when he taught me the rest, I embraced it. I do not embrace the rest that he taught me the way you all embrace the rest that you've been taught yourself. Because if you think the rest in which you have been taught is giving you a rest for your earthly flesh, and then on the seventh day, you rest your labor of your flesh. Think y'all think. So if the rest is for the flesh, then he that created the rest and sanctified it, all of his work was spirit. You see? He brought all things forth by the spirit. The invisible things, he brought it forth that you may see. Why you said that? Because heaven had it there. He called it out by the word, and his power seen it bring forth that which the word spoke. So we know that he is spirit. Everything about Yah, everything about Yah is what? Spirit. To the point where he said, you can't take your flesh and worship him. Ooh-wee! Somebody's in trouble. If we can't worship him in our flesh, who is this rest really for? See, what we did is we bypassed him for thousands of years because we had nothing and we desired nothing to do with the spiritual realm. So what he did is he left another ram in the bush. He forever leaving a ram in the bush. Why I'm saying that now is because I can see the ram. The ram is the mystery. And the mystery is going to be brought forth by bringing knowledge of it forth in the end days. And rest for he that is spirit. I wonder what that is really like. Versus the rest that is portrayed in this day and time as a day of rest. I sit back and watch people. They fix their food a day ahead of time. They do their cleaning. They do everything just for that day of rest, not realizing everything you're doing is detached to your flesh. It carries no authority or no sanctification or no spiritual anything, but yet a spiritual creator created it as rest. You see, he used it even to apply it in his own realm. So when he said in verse Genesis chapter 2 and verse 3, and Yah blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rest from all his work which he created and made. Wait a minute now. He rests. Now, what is this rest like for he that is spirit? What is it like unto? You see? So, how could a spiritual creator create a rest for the flesh of man without separating the rest for the spirit of man? That leads me to understand the rest was never for the flesh. It was for the inner man spirit, not so much the outer man. There are people who ain't even had a job and ain't gonna get there and ain't gonna labor like it says. They will keep the Sabbath day. Let's put this here. Let's go. I'm gonna go take you there all the way there. Okay, let's go on there. Okay, here it tells what Yah said to man. And he said, the curse is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shall thou eat of it all the days of thy life. That's verse 17. Verse 18. Thorns also and twistlets shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herbs of the field. Verse 19. The sweat of thy face, that's the labor, shall thou eat bread. Wait a minute now. The sweat of thy face, that's the labor. That's the labor of the flesh. That's where the labor of the flesh came in, holding hands with sin. So if the labor came in because of sin, then how could the rest come in for the flesh sins? It doesn't make sense. See, many of you all don't understand the rest. I'm going to give you an example of how he taught me. He said, Deborah, just picture an ocean, way out in the ocean. Can you see him? Can you see him? I said, see who and see what, Father, Yah? He said, they way out there. You can't even see them, can you? I said, Father, ain't nobody. I can't see nobody. He said, you know why? They gone too far. He said, they gone so far, you can't see them and they can't see you. But guess what, Deborah? They can't see dry land. What's dry land? If you all way out in the middle of the ocean, when you see dry land, you see hope. You have that faith that I can make it now, I can see it. But he said there are millions and billions that have gone so far out in the ocean. And they're going to live and die out there. Never again seeing dry land. Dry land is spirit and truth, y'all. Dry land is the light of the Most High, y'all. Dry land can consist of the mystery. Truth, y'all, that has not been taught. And this is why there's two gates, one broad and one narrow. This is why hell is enlarging, because he's already prepared it for where he know you're headed. But everybody's on all of these platforms, especially YouTube. We got more men and women pulling up with their page, saying they chosen, they ministers, they teaching his word, they teaching Torah, they teaching Enoch, they teaching all these books that they totally lost in. But Solomon warned me that. My brother Solomon said, too many books, Deborah. Take them in a whole different, deep tunnel. But they don't get it. So here I see the rest. Who is it really for? So in the comments, I like to hear your input. I like to hear what you say. This rest. Because the rest was before man. Not after man. Yah created the rest in his perfect will. Ooh-wee. In his spiritual will. Man wasn't created to after. The rest was set. So who was the rest truly for? Since we serve a spiritual Yah. We don't have him as our flesh. A lot of people say, girl, be just appreciative, be glad in what you look like, because this is your image of you. You're the image of Yah. Or here they'll tell these guys the same way. No, you're not the image of Yah in your outer man, baby. You're the image of your fleshly mommy and daddy. The image that you have of Yah is a spirit. Thank you. And that's another thing they don't teach to people. And this is things that they should have learned way back in the beginning. And now it's more, it's sealed in me to understand what he meant when he said, look out there. Can you see him? No, Father, I don't see him. What is it you're showing me? Who's out there? No, you can't even see him, can you? No, he said that's because they went too deep. They're gone too deep, Deborah. And they don't see you, nor do they see the dry land. Nor will they. They will drown because they're gone too deep. That's when you go too deep in the understanding of the flesh of men and women. That's too deep, y'all. When you get into this mindset that I'm just going to swim all the way out there with them because they got a lot of subscribers, they got a lot of members in their church, they got a lot of members in their big church, they got 20,000 people. He got to be the right one. And they swim on out into the deep, not knowing when the leader drowns, you're drowning with him, just like the Titanic. Gone too far out. Okay, so here it's where you see Adam, he had not been created when the first order, I put it like that, of the blessing. We know that it's a blessing because look at verse Genesis chapter 2 and verse 3. And Yah blessed the seventh day. See, he put a blessing on that day like he put a blessing on Abraham. He put a blessing on Joseph, put a blessing on his son. He wanted which son to go first. But what did Jacob do? Jacob did not bless the son that Joseph wanted him to bless him. Jacob blessed the righteous son. You see, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Same thing with Esau and Jacob. A lot of us would think that Jacob was scheming. Now, when it all said and done, the one that got blessed was the one that heaven had blessed anyway. Okay? So the blessing, we have to consider where did they get off putting this blessing on their son? Which son get the blessing? There it is, right there in the scriptures. Y'all showing you when he blessed them, male and female. They didn't pay no attention to it. They stretched that out and continue Genesis 2, 3, and 4, leading you into an order to take them out and make it about him. And that's where you see today. They made everything match the order of man so that man can have all these desires, and all women are to do is sit on the ground with their head wrapped and all that long, blinding looking psychedelic colors over them. You see people over in the other countries with all this hot stuff on. Baby, ain't nobody looking at you but Satan. He see you with all his black clothing day and night. While your husbands go out the way that they want and look at everything outside of you. See, it's just so much wicked and evil. And I just thank the Father for creating it down here before it enter in. He's letting everything take its course on the earth. That's what he taught me as a young girl. What took place before the foundation of the world? The chaos that was in the kingdom, Deborah. I let him know I'm going to place that bad boy on the earth and let y'all rumble there. And that's what he did. Who's who is who? From the kingdom, you are already known. So here with the rest, I want you all to understand it was sanctified, it was blessed by Yah. Now he's gonna bless this day, he's gonna sanctify this day, the seventh, all in the spirit realm. Come on now. So who is it for? You? Is it for your flesh or was it for your spirit? We have to get with what he also said about laboring. Because there was no labor for them, because Yah had created everything. All he wanted them to do is multiply and replenish it. So it wasn't no labor for them. He had done everything to them. For them, all you have to do is look at his glory. All in Genesis 1, all this stuff he made him. He telling them about the seeds and what kind of trees and the fruit. I made that for you as meat. He done did everything, and still yet, where did the labor for them on the seventh day come in? For it was holy. So how did this become? He even put gold and rubies and all kind of stuff in the land. Y'all were cutting up rivers, and he put everything. But something happened as well. After he called the rest to order and blessed the rest, then went on him to create, okay, the garden, the tree of life, and the tree of knowledge and good and evil. But wait a minute, Father Yah. The rest was already blessed. What's the deal? You see what I'm saying? The rest had to have been for he that was coming in the spirit, not he that is of the flesh. And you cannot look at the seventh day as one day. You got to look at the idea. It could be backwards. It could be we serve him 6 days, and on the seventh, we stand back and rest and do what we desire for this flesh. I'm wanting your suggestion. I want you to tell me what you think. Just think about that. You were doing all this power and all this spiritual things and creating it with your awesome power from your kingdom. You spoke your word. You brought your power forth, Father. You did all this, and then you sealed it with a blessing. On the seventh day is to rest. So what was all that you was doing, Father? Oh, Deborah, you know what I was doing. I was cutting up from the floor up from here. So we got to come back and think about it. Think about it. Could it have been that 6 days we labor for him on his behalf for the things in which he has done spiritual? And on the seventh day, could he have given us a day of resting this flesh? Because on the 6 days, he gave us everything. On the seventh day, he rests. Why is it he gets 1 day and not 6? See, I'm just wanting your opinion on this. I love the idea that the Father keep instilling in me. Deborah, I told them that in the end, I'm going to increase knowledge. And the knowledge is going to bring forth the mysteries. And I'm only sending my servants to do that. So when I see this rest, now, Sister Deborah, I already knew that the rest wasn't what the rest y'all talking about. Because I knew the kingdom is the rest itself. Woo! Eternal is the rest itself. See, you have to understand and pull up, what is this rest? It's deeper than deep. So we got to understand the labor of not the labor of, but the things that he made. He spoke it with his spiritual word, and his power, which is spiritual, brought it forth. Okay, what did it tell you? My word will not come back void. So what I'm trying to get y'all to see is even his word alone is spiritual. It goes where it goes, and it says what it says, and it means what it says and what it's about. So I believe that we need to look into this rest, because what we did, let me tell you what we did. We took this rest and made it flesh without dissecting the fact that, wait a minute, this thing could be spiritual. And it is. It's no way the Father would have given 7 days for the flesh. And on the 6th day, it's for him. Impossible. Impossible. 7 days 6 days for the flesh. And on the 7th, it's for him. And let me show you how the flesh, where you know it's all wrong. Because the flesh think it's time. You can't do no work. You sit down and you relax. A lot of them say they sleep in. You sit down and you relax. Do y'all know that 99.9 don't even have a job, a working job, a laboring job for 6 days? So how do your job match what y'all did in 6 days? That require you in the flesh to rest 1 day. Come on now. Don't make sense, do it? Don't make sense. All that he done while you sit your tails down and do nothing. But say, I'm keeping the Sabbath, the Sabbath, the Sabbath. And y'all beat people up and beat them down and don't understand what is the Sabbath. They don't know, Father, y'all. So this is what he's challenging me on. Put it down. Put it down. And I start writing. I got my notebooks here. Okay? And here we go. Let's go first and foremost to Mark chapter 2. In the book of Mark chapter 2, we got an issue going on here. It's an issue because you can hear flesh teach this thing day and night and day for thousands of years or hundreds of years since this book. But for thousands of years, do they understand it in the order of the way man wants to bring it forward? Man does not bring spirit and truth. Man bring man's understanding in the flesh. And this is what people follow behind and allow to lead them. The opinions and the feelings and the emotions and the interpretation of their wisdom, their knowledge, and their understanding. Not understanding that it's something greater than their understanding. And that is Yah. Okay, which is the Ruach. Okay, so when we get to Mark chapter 2 and verse 27 and 28, I hear something's going on here, and it's kind of deep. Okay, and it says in verse 27, and he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Okay? Verse 28. Therefore, the Son of the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Hold up. What you mean? What you mean? And what is this? Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Okay, I want you to stop right there. I've been trying to teach people and reveal to them, just as Yeshua is telling them, I'm Lord over the Sabbath. Hold up. What are y'all talking about? I'm Lord over the Sabbath. Now watch this. It's the same thing I tried to explain to you all about the Ruach HaKodesh. He is the commandment. He is the law. And when he is in you, that's what makes him greater than he that's on the outside, is he that's on the inside. You get what I'm saying? So can't nobody on the outside tell you nothing. Because greater is he on the inside of who you are than he that's on the outside hooping and hollering trying to teach you his fleshly ways. Same thing. That's what I be trying to say to you all. Greater is he on the inside. What makes him great? Because he all commandments and he all law. All in one. He all power. He all authority. That's what makes him great in you. How are you to tell me that I have to keep something that it was created for you to keep? Why? Because you're of the flesh. See, the flesh needed a law. The flesh needs the commandment. So Yeshua pulling up, I'm not coming here to bother your law. You need your law. I come to bring the law of the Spirit. I come to bring the commandment of the Spirit that's going to be on your heart and in you. So who's going to tell the Most High Yah to keep the law and the commandment? Because that's what you do. If you buckle up on Sister Deborah talking about the law and commandment, then Yah would ask you, wait a minute, who do you think I am? In her. If I'm greater in her than you are, who are you to tell her to keep a commandment and the law? Those commandments and law is for he that is of the flesh. This one is mine. I'm the creator of it all. I am the law. I am the commandment. So how are you telling her to keep something that's living in her that's already kept? My law, my commandment. Same thing Yeshua said here. I am the Sabbath. What y'all talking about? What y'all talking about? Wait a minute. When did you become the Sabbath? Wait a minute. The Sabbath is for them to rest and to lay down. Wait a minute, Yeshua. The Sabbath is supposed to them take a day off and rest and not cook and not eat, not clean, not do anything. Just lay down and rest your flesh. Where in the rest behind in the beginning that he created a blessed day, a sanctified day for your nasty flesh. When he know in the year of 2024 and throughout life, you ain't worked a day in your life, but yet you need the rest of the Spirit. Come on now. Somebody tell me what you got to say. You ain't got nothing to say because you can't say nothing. Don't make sense. That's because for all these thousands of years, we have not embraced the Ruach, the true teacher. He's the one to come teach you all things, y'all. And we didn't embrace him even in the spirit realm. And this is why we are out here hearing things and cannot embrace it. That's why the snakes will slither in and slither out. I bet, I agree. Baby, I would get out of here if you see a heel that's about to crush your head. Because crushing your head means all the thoughts and the belief in your flesh that you had is about to get crushed. Get out of here as soon as possible. I don't blame you. So I open up my comment. I want to hear what you say. Now listen to this. Now, this is what it means in Mark chapter 2 and verse 28. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. What does, let me see, of the mean? It is the impression and the relationship between a part and a whole. You are the part. He is the whole. You are the part and he is the whole. Letting you know, I am the Sabbath. What are y'all talking about? What is he saying? What is Yeshua saying? I am the spiritual one of the Most High Yah. So that rest, that Sabbath has some connection to the spirit, not to the flesh. Now, the way he taught me was to let me know that the resting place is in him. That, the resting place is in his bosom. I can come there and rest therein. Why? Because he's in me. And I can just rest on his bosom. You see? So when Sister Deborah is saying every time she get on her, and I shall rest therein, that's why I'm in a resting place. But there that same place is in the kingdom, in Yah. So we got to understand he rests from the spiritual labor that he brought to us, that he give and gave us. And he rests. That's why he said to me, he said, well, do you really think I need rest? I said, you ain't got no business asking me that, because I know you don't need no rest. So what was he saying? What was he saying? He was telling us, I believe, that we are to labor in the vineyard. And these things are spiritual. And on that day that he has blessed, separate from those 6 days, that day, you can rest. From what? All your spiritual labor. Bam! That's what he's talking about. He ain't telling you that you go get work and labor and on your 7-day rest, girl. You've been resting all day. You come home from work and you rest. Wait a minute, hold on. Why do he has to prepare a rest for your flesh? You ain't done nothing. Look at all these people ain't working. I don't know when. Some people ain't never had a job. Some people on all kind of substances. But yet, come Friday evening, Saturday sundown, Sabbath is such a big thing. How could Sabbath be anything to you? Do you know what the rest of Yah is? The rest of Yah really is? Do you really understand the rest of Yah? For him to have rest and bless that day, it cannot and shall not be something that has to motivate the flesh to get something for it. Yah is about spirit and he's about truth. If he tell me your body, your flesh cannot worship me, Deborah, you can only worship me in the spirit. So why are you giving me rest for my flesh then? Why are you giving me rest for my flesh? Because the rest is not detached to the flesh. Even the labor itself is for the spirit. And that's why he says, and he broke it up in so many words and simple. He made it so simple to say, you're going to have yours and I'm going to have mine. You see? In Genesis chapter 3 and 15, we're going to have our own. So here in Mark chapter 2, verse 27 and 28, it reads, and Yeshua, he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the authority is the Sabbath, not man. We done made it about us because we don't understand the rest. We never dig into the scriptures to get the fullness of what is the rest. Because we took every word that proceed out of the mouth of man and reject every word proceed out of the mouth of the Yah to our spirit. So therefore we are born of the flesh, and we took on those and we role play them up to the utmost. So understand, the rest was placed before the labor. How did the labor come in? Through sin. So you mean to tell me he put a rest for the flesh that was loaded with sin, that chose sin, that's going to be sin? He already put in place a rest for them. For what? They sin? Come on now. And even not, if we don't even have to take today, we can go back years, thousands of years. Many have never labored. So how do you think that when he put labor 6 days and rest, blessed the 7th day. No, all of it was blessed. The 7th day was a bless to sanctify it different than the 6th. And no, I do not agree that the day that was sanctified is lesser than the days of the flesh. No way. No way. No way. I will not accept that. I do not accept that. So when he's coming and pulling up on me in the water, I'm like, yeah, I know about that rest. I know about that rest. But he's taking me to a different level. So I can understand how far lost people really are in this day and time, even in the process of the judgment and the wrath and the fire that he has kindled. That's how far people are. And we still going further and further, deeper and deeper to drown in these teaching of man. And they're teaching based on the flesh. And that's the pleasure that they rather have. Because if you think, people are not even laboring. So why would he create 6 days of labor and only 1 day is where you worship me? Christians, Catholics, all churches that's under this King James Bible and under their belief always take a day of rest because they really believe the rest is needed in their flesh. What did you do in the flesh outside the things of the flesh to gain for the flesh? Well, what did you do in the spirit? Nothing. I didn't have to. Well, when he created everything in his spirit realm to bring it to the forth for us. He gave and gave us. He did it all by his spiritual word, by his spiritual power. Did he create everything that we see? Same way he gave it to us, same way he gonna do away with it. That's that power. That's that spirit. He's a spirit. So why is he wanting to give us rest before seeing him for our labor? Okay, Adam and Eve, I created everything for you. Everything's there. Gold, rubies, everything. Rivers, everything is there. What do they supposed to do? They're supposed to multiply, have dominion. But you don't see the consisting of what you would call laboring. Labor came in when they sinned. Okay? So what they did, they took the rest out of the perfect will and they applied it to the flesh of the labor. Because another way where you know that something is not making any sense is where Adam ended up having the curse, and a lot of people say his curse is that he eat from the ground and thorns and that he labor. But we as women labor greater as men. So how is it the curse for Adam end up in as a curse for us? You see, it don't make sense, do it? Because it's the way they chose to teach it, and they left it right there, and we ate of it, and still today. And the difference from yesterday and today, he said the light will bring the light is going to shine in the darkness. So that which was in the dark is going to come to the light in the end days. In a way of showing you that they ain't getting away with nothing. I'm gonna pour out the light on them. And that's a very powerful thing for him to pull up on me regarding the word rest. And I began to kind of think and wonder. I said, Father, with this rest, they can go on crazy. Can't cook, you can't comb your head, you can't bath, you can't do this and you can't do that. How much energy and how much authority you give to your flesh for a 1 day period that you think that the creator created for you to have such a great rest and you ain't labored. Just think now. He labored because all what he was doing in the spirit realm. That's why he labored. That's the labor he did. What labor are you doing? Is your labor in the flesh or is it in the spirit? that require a day of rest to be blessed? Come on now. Was it for he that is of the spirit or he that is of the flesh? Who is this rest for? Now listen to this. Let's go to Matthew chapter 12, verse 6 through 8. So Yeshua letting them know in Mark chapter 2 and verse 28. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Wait a minute. Hold up. Lord over the of the Sabbath. That sounds like a spiritual thing to me. Where's the flesh in it? Where's the flesh in that? That's not what he's talking about. He's letting you know this is a spiritual thing, y'all. But do they get it? No. Matthew chapter 12. 12 and 6 through 8. Matthew chapter 12, verse 6 through 8. Verse 6 says, but I say unto you that in the place is one greater than the temple. In this place is one greater than the temple. Because see, what people think is these buildings out here, these temples are holy than thou. They put so much holiness and so much anointed on these buildings. They really do. That's the same way to me, in a way they serve even the rest. They put so much emphasis on the rest for the flesh. Yah is not telling you you get one day of rest for your flesh to serve and worship him. Wait a minute. When he took 6 days in the spirit to do his work of giving and giving you, but yet he gonna get one day for you to rest your flesh, to think about him, to teach him, to preach his word. You sick. You sick. You better check out that rest. That rest is not who y'all or what y'all think it is. And it's okay. It's over. He said it's over. He just said to me, Deborah, you still in the race. You got to keep running. So Matthew chapter 12, verse 6. But I say unto you that in this place is one greater than the temple. But if ye had known what the rest was. Watch this here. But if ye had known what this meant, if only you know what the true rest was, I would have mercy and not sanctify. Ye would not have condemned the guiltless. If only you would have known, you wouldn't be out here teaching and preaching and making people feel that the Sabbath of what you created to be a flesh thing and a flesh thing only, and that's how you geared it up. And anybody that's not keeping the Sabbath, y'all have the audacity to think you know it in spirit and truth, and you don't. You know it in the understanding of your flesh, and that's pretty much it. You don't understand that the Sabbath was before the labor. The labor came in from the sin. The Sabbath came in from the work of the Spirit. Okay? And we know he don't need no rest. So he was sending you a sign. All that I have given thee. Come on, worship me. Praise me. Glorify me. Oh, nah, we can only do that on the Sabbath. When the Sabbath is in, we ain't gonna do anything, but then we'll worship and serve. That's how sick the minds are, especially in Judah. They think they doing something. Same thing with the feast and all these different feasts they have. It's even in there telling them, I'm not even paying. If y'all say he turned his back from you, but yet he said he still got a stretched out arm, but his back is turned from you, what makes you think he's honoring your feast? See, they don't get it. They don't get it. You in captivity. You can't master your feast day. You can't correct it from where it was. He said you are worse than your forefathers. So how is it that you're pulling up thinking that you can go back to Torah or pick it up and manipulate people It has to do with, I'm gonna be honest, it has to do with money and control. Anything that's going on, these churches, it has to do with power and control. Power and control. I heard a man talk about Tony Evans. I think they were called Too Strong. And the sickness of male men today is so far gone. When he said in Deuteronomy 28, they're gonna be destroyed, y'all know he nailed it. They are gone. Now, if this man decide to step down because of a sin that he committed, you don't give him praises because he stepped down. Father God, why they gone? Debbie, you know I told you they been gone. But Father God, they praising him because he took the idea. He did what T.D. Jakes and others didn't do. He did step down. Baby, he been doing it for years. I guess so. It caught up with him. You see how sick people are? This is how men are. They cover the sin of their own tribe. All the wicked and evil, and thinking they're going to stand before y'all. And y'all going to say, well done. They're a long ways from home. They, like you say, Deborah, they way out in the ocean. They cannot see dry land. They cuckoo clock all the way. So here you go in Matthew chapter 12 and verse 7. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 7. But if ye had known what this meant, I would have mercy and not sanctify. Ye would not have condemned the guiltless. Verse 8. For the Son of Man is Lord, even of the Sabbath day. Even of the Sabbath day. So the Sabbath day ain't what y'all think it is. The Sabbath is never going to be what you all think it is. Because from this prophet taught from the wilderness level of the Most High Yah, let me tell you, I'm looking at it as people trying to turn this Sabbath, and they debate and they argue what day it is. What difference does it make? You don't know the order of and the purpose therein of rest. Because I believe that it's connected to serving Yah in the way that he is in you and greater. And you're serving him 6 days. And on the Sabbath day, you can rest from serving him. From the labor of the Spirit. They vice versa it. Why did they do it? I have no idea. Well, why would you think that they vice versa it? Because Yah, his labor was spirit. So to get rest, we know his spirit really didn't need rest. But he was showing us he is spirit. And even in his spirit, he labored in his spirit. And he rested after 6 days of laboring in the spirit. We out here ain't even laboring. But we detach the spiritual Sabbath to our flesh getting rest. From what? Flesh labor? Come on now. It doesn't make sense. So I'm going to open my comment, and I want everybody to give me your opinion, not your, give your opinion, give your insight of what you believe. So, because right here, I'm trying to say to the Father, why is the Son of Man insist on them knowing he is the Sabbath? He is of the Sabbath. Of the Sabbath mean of the. When you say of the impression, the relationship between a part and a whole. He is the whole Sabbath. You are the part. Sabbath is not. It is for man, not man for the Sabbath. We have to understand everything the Father did, he did it in spirit and he did it in truth. And because we reject receiving it in the spirit realm, we know not the level of how and why he created all things. Okay. Now, this rest is powerful because you got to understand it all seemed to be in the spirit realm. Everything started to be, and it makes sense. You know why it makes sense? Because he hadn't created what I mean by that, Adam, the garden, and all the sin had, I put it like that, the sin that brought upon us the curse of Adam having to labor. But then the spirit of the Most High showed me last year that that same curse that Adam was applied to Adam is also on woman. And nobody never teach or preach it. That same curse that Adam holds up, it's on women, children. The same curse that he put on man is on women and children. But the curse of the woman is only for her. This is where you know that you're out of order in your understanding. Because I advise each and every last one of you to focus on the twos. Heavens created everything in twos. So when we get to the rest, here we go, y'all, here we go. When you get to the rest, break that bad boy up. Break the rest in two sets. When you break it up in two, you put the spiritual rest and you put the fleshly rest, and you break them things down. Once you break them down, bring them up into Genesis chapter 2, and what was it? Genesis chapter 2 and verse 2 and 3. That's what I mean. Genesis chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. And then you bring them back up. So you're going to take the rest and you're going to divide it. You're going to put rest at the top. And then you're going to categorize the rest of the flesh and the rest of the spirit. Everything that you rest in the spirit and everything that you rest in the flesh. You put them back together and bring them to Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. No, Genesis chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. Bring it back into that. And then come to the conclusion. Now, don't forget to put Yah's rest separate from flesh rest. Because Yah was working on the spiritual end. He wasn't flesh. The things in which he was doing was strictly spirit. He brought that was invisible to visible by the word and the power. Now, over here, what is man doing? What is he doing to be required a day that he rests? As if he labored for something outside of the flesh. So is there a labor in the spirit? Yes, it is. It's a labor in the spirit, but it has to have the spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh therein. That labor of the spirit has to have a calling, a chosen position. That labor in the spirit is one who has been called out to serve and worship the Most High Yah. You know how it says, the harvest is ripe, but the labor are few. Pray ye thee to the Most High Yah that he will bring more laborers into the vineyard. That's all spiritual, y'all. That's all spiritual. Let's say that again. How about that? How about that? You know how it says the harvest is ripe, being ready, and the labors are few. Pray to the Father that he will send more laborers into the more what? Labors. Wait a minute. The more what? The more laborers into the vineyard. Who are these laborers? Laboring for the Most High Yah in spirit and in truth. You see, those are the laborers who works with the harvest. You see? And he said, pray to the Father that he will send more laborers. But that's how, you know what you know what I'm telling y'all something about what I learned about the Most High Yah? Laborers is always going to look short because they go through the narrow gate. They're the true servants of the Most High Yah. So what I'm trying to say to you all, we have, as we that are flesh, we have turned everything over as if it is a fleshly thing, and we live by it. We die by it. That's where he said, Deborah, my people. He called them his people. They perish. That means die due to what? Lack of knowledge. Why? Because they reject. So they'll die not knowing what Sister Deborah is telling you all today. Many have thousands and hundreds. Just think back with everybody when they was in church, laboring for the flesh, but had nothing, no works of the spirit. And then he turned around and he said, tell them this. Did not tell them the fruits of the spirit has works like unto the fruit of the flesh has its works. You see? Works. This is why people don't have no idea what the fruit is. Because they thinking that the fruit is really something they can say that it is out of the order of their flesh. Somebody like me pull up and I give it to you in the spirit realm. They are not the same. So the rest in which you all are living is not the rest that Yah orchestrated from the kingdom. For it was before your labor. See, that labor that Adam brought in came in. He had to labor the curse itself ushered in. Sin and laboring was one of the sin. So his working was one of the sin. Because Yah had given him everything. You know, it wasn't nothing he was lacking. That's why you got to go back to the perfect will. That's why you got to go back to Genesis chapter 1. You can't just forsaken it. You can pull it up in chapter 2 too, but you got to go back to those two chapters. When you lose that, you lost the whole book, the Father said. And and all it is instructions and direction for you, because it takes the spirit. He that labors with the vineyard. You see, those are the ones he's speaking of. Those that are in the body of Hamashiach. Why are you in that body and you have no labor? And you live in the labor of the flesh and you're resting on the Sabbath as if your whole purpose for being in the body of Hamashiach is about your flesh. You see the body of Hamashiach? You see how it's called the body of Hamashiach? And it's called the church. We got two churches. A church built with bricks, church be about the spirit. You see? You get what I'm saying? And it's all confused because people who thinking the true church is those that's in the building versus the church that's in you. You see how messed up that is? Yah has always been trying to detach us to him, but we want to go to them. So Sister Deborah, I hope you got something out of it, but I am going to open up my live chat, not my live chat, my comment, and I would like your input because he brought that to me, and I know I didn't bring it to you like he brought it to me, but I feel that I did okay. And I do say that Yah rest is spiritual. Yah rest of the flesh. That's what's the question. Yah's rest is what? Isn't he spiritual? Our flesh rest is for our what? Flesh. That's all it's for, y'all. Where do he get glory out of it? Where do he get honor out of it? Where do he get really worship or anything out of it? Look like 7 days, 6 days for you to labor for your flesh. That's a part of the curse. But that's your labor. You get something out of your labor. You get paid to pay your bills, to eat your food. But on the seventh day, you lay that same flesh down and you rest on the flesh. So where is it that Yah created a rest for your flesh when he is spirit and we know he don't need rest? So what is he trying to explain to us? 6 days, serve me. 7 day, you get a little rest of and start back up. We were created to worship Yah. We were created to praise and honor and glorify and serve Yah. We have totally 100 times trillion went strictly into the darkness and had a seat. Not understanding. That's why man talking about woman was created for man, not man for woman. Baby, woman was not created for you. She was created for Yah. All things were created for him according to his will, for his name's sake, for his purpose, and not yours. Because these things were orchestrated from the kingdom. Where were you at? What part of you played a role in it? Where was you in the kingdom ruling and controlling? Huh? Come on now. So I say unto you, be very careful in the way you take in things today. Measure things into the twos, separating the spirit from the flesh and the flesh from the spirit. You have a better way of understanding many things. Because we have to understand, really, what was the rest of he that is spirit speaking of? And what was this rest? And who was this rest for? He was preparing it for your flesh. When he knows even the majority of the time you ain't worked, you ain't labored. So he's saying for those that are the laborers in the vineyard, doing the work in which they were created to worship and serve him on the earth, showing the fruits of the spirit and the works of the spirit. That's required a lot, you guys. That's like going into a dark alley and don't know if you're coming out, because you're going in spiritual and you don't know if you're going to come out. You're going straight into the darkness. That's labor, you guys. Me having to come on here to speak to you all in such a bold and pure power and authority, that's laboring. We are the one that needs the rest. And we got to get a full understanding. What is this rest? How we get it? Once we understand that rest, then we'll understand that rest wasn't for everybody. Yes, because when you find out where that rest is, you'll say, wait a minute, Deborah, that rest ain't for everybody. No, it ain't. So I, Sister Deborah, appreciate each and every last one of you all tuning in. And I hope you got something out of it. Shalom and shalom.